Hello, everybody. I want to go over the February transits. So I'm just going to have a list of all the dates and I'm just going to kind of free flow here. So February 1st, we have the full moon happening in the sign of Cancer in the nakshatra of Aslesha. And I made a whole video about this that I will link below. So Cancer is the sign that the moon rules. So when we have a full moon in Cancer, we're feeling that really good, warm moon in the heart feeling. And a lot of us, we've been in a lot of Capricorn, so a lot of us might have been feeling a lot of our masculine energy. And when we move into this full moon in Cancer, we'll be connecting more to that feminine touch. And so if you have been, we have a lot of signs in Capricorn right now with the sun, so we're in a Capricorn lesson cycle. And so a lot of us have been doing and getting a lot of things done and being really productive, or maybe we feel like we've just been spinning our wheels. But we've been doing things and we might be feeling very burnt out. And so this full moon in Cancer is a chance for us to take a little time and turn our energy back towards ourselves and towards our own heart and what makes us happy, and take care of ourselves. And self-care is definitely in order. And during a full moon, we want to go be around people, celebrate life, celebrate all the things that we're grateful for. And then as we move from that full moon back to the new moon, we can slowly start to turn inward. And sometimes we can think that this inward turn is very unproductive, or because we're not out in the world, Capricorn, out in the world, getting things done, do. And Cancer is more about like, hey, turn inward, what's happening inside, because Cancer represents our heart, like this, the light deep in the cave of the heart. That is what the moon in Cancer represents. And so as we move, and it really is that like waning moon energy of turning in. And we can think of this as like, that's not productive, I'm not out in the world. But the turning in is when we like are facing our shadows and releasing. And this is actually like the most productive thing you can do. It is not there. The outer world is great, and yes, keep doing all those things. But the true doing is when you are able to change your inner world. And that's when we face the shadow. And so that Cancer moon is that reminder that we don't always need to be doing in the outer world. We also need to be doing in the inner world. And it's also that like waning moon energy of like, now it's time to turn in. And then we have the eclipse season beginning on February 10th. And I have a whole video about this as well that I will link. And I will go into detail about all of the nakshatras and exactly where all the eclipse dates are happening over the next couple weeks. But just to give you an overview, it will be happening on the Aquarius Leo axis. So Rahu is in Aquarius and K2 is in Leo. Rahu is the head of the dragon, where we consume everything in sight, and then K2 is the tail of the dragon, where we are disgusted or like want to avoid that thing. And Aquarius represents the people, and Leo represents the government or the kings. And Rahu is where the energy is, K2 is where we're disgusted. So it shows that the energy is focused on what's good for the people, and that people are disgusted with the government and the kingdom. And I don't need to tell you that. You can see that pretty clearly. It's quite obvious. And this actually started when we had the last eclipse back in, I think it was like the beginning of October. And that's when Rahu and Ketu went into the Aquarius Leo axis. And then we've been seeing a lot of fighting back against governments and even like regime changes, even like bigger governments going in, taking over smaller governments. And so there's a lot of that kind of energy happening, and it's going to amplify. And the actual solar eclipse will be on February 17th, and Venus will also be conjunct here as well, adding another element to the eclipse. But Venus is a gentle planet, and it's all about pleasure and beauty, and so hopefully this will soften some of this. But Venus also is about our physical pleasure in life, our relationships. And so this may even show like some balancing in our relationships with others, or it might show where there's an imbalance in some of your relationships with other people. And as far just in general, when there's eclipse happening, it's always an intense time, but right now is kind of a volatile time in the world. And so just being a little bit aware of that, and just don't like cancel any of your plans, live your life, but just know that it's going to be a little bit draining during that time, and just give yourself extra care to like make sure your needs are met. And Mercury will go retrograde in Aquarius. So that's another thing, is there is a lot of planets in Aquarius this month. So we have a ton of Aquarius energy happening with this eclipse. And Aquarius energy is like revolt against the government and stand up for the underdogs, and we power to the people. And so we might see like a lot of uprising begin to really amplify, and then Mars might be that trigger, because Mars goes into Aquarius on February 22nd, and then Mars will be fired up again. He's a little more calm and collected in Capricorn, but Aquarius brings out the Mars drama. And so, yeah, we might be fired up. Be careful not to get into fights with people right now about politics or government, because Mars will be feeling like defending their beliefs. And when we're in that space, remember, we don't want Mars doing the talking or the communicating. We want Mercury doing the communicating, which is more of like the logical thinking. Mars is more emotional and fiery. And then when Mercury goes retrograde on February 25th in Aquarius, we will be revisiting a lot of this energy that we've been going through in Aquarius while we've been moving through this month. And so we're going to have to go back through and revisit a little bit of this, like the public versus the government energy that we've been feeling. But when Mercury's in Aquarius, this is when we feel very innovative and creative, and we want to use our imagination to make a difference for the greater good. And so it can actually be a very inspiring time. And so as Mercury is retrograding, you can use that as a time to be very creative and innovative and think about things from a new perspective, because Aquarius is all about being different, changing the way that we do things, not doing things the same that they've always been done. And so that's kind of that fun Aquarius rebellious energy that we can tap into with Mercury. And then I'm going to leave the month there. I'll make a little more detailed videos about the eclipse and the new moon. I didn't write down which day. Oh, the new moon is on the eclipse. So yeah, we'll go into the new moon and the eclipse on the same day. And I will see you in the next video. I hope you have a nice day.